Hi everyone, my name is Norini Habibah and my partner is Berta Hawihetri. We are from Group 4. Our topic is how to teach writing. Okay, let's get started. Why teach writing? The reason for teaching writing to students of English of foreign language include reinforcement, language development, learning style, and most importantly, writing as a skill in its own right. We will look at each of these in turn. First, reinforcement. Coherence, visual, how everything fits together, and conscient understanding. Some students acquire language in a purely oral or oral way, but most of us benefit greatly from seeing the language written down. The visual demonstration of language construction is invaluable for both our understanding of how it all fits together and us, and aid to committing the new language to memory. Students often find it useful to write sentences using new language shortly after they have studied it.
Next is for advanced level. First, expose the topic or give their opinion. So, in this example, for an upper intermediate or advanced level class, the writing text form part of a much longer project-like sequence. The teacher is going to get students to write a report about leisure activities. Next, write a report about the topic. So, the teacher introduces the topic and asks students to give her any words they associate with leisure activities. She writes them on the board and adds any of her own that she thinks the student needs. Then the teacher will ask students to design a questionnaire which will find out how people spend their leisure time. When they have collected the information they need through their questionnaires, they discuss how they are going to write the report. This is where the teacher will introduce some of the features of report writing that are necessary for the text. As with many examples of writing style, the teacher can suggest way in which the text should be constructed. What comes in the introduction, middle paragraph, and conclusion, and other language which the writing style uses. Next, teacher retrieve the report and then hands them back. The student now drop the report, which the teacher collects to correct. When she hands them back, the student write them up in final form and show them their colleagues to see if they are said more or less the same thing or share their writing with their partners. Next, how should teachers correct writing? First is we can have them correcting their own work. Most students find it very disappointing if they get a piece of writing work back and it is covered in red ink, underlinings, and crossing out. It is a powerful visual statement of the fact that their writing English is terrible. Of course, some pieces of writing work are completely full of mistakes. But even in this case, overcorrection can have a very demotivating effect. Next is writing symbols. One way of avoiding the overcorrection problem is for teachers to tell their students that for a particular feast, of work, they are only going to correct mistakes of punctuation or spelling or grammar teach, etc. This has two advantage. It makes students concentrate on that particular aspect and it cuts down on the correction. Another technique which may teacher use in is to agree on a list of writing symbol. When they come across a mistake, they underline it discreetly and write the symbol in the margin. This makes correction look less damaging. Next is write a comment. However, many mistakes you may want to identify, it is always worth writing a comment at the end of piece of writing work. Anything from like well done to this is a good story, but you must look again at your use of past tense. Next is what can be done about handwriting. Retexts personality or characters. Handwriting is a very personal matter. It is supposed to reflect character. Different nationalists certainly have recognizable handwriting traits. Some people have easily readable writing. Some produce writing work which is invariable, whether beautiful or messy and ugly. Double work, different culture. Many nationalities do not use the same kind of script as English, so for students from those cultures, writing in English is doubly difficult. They are fighting their expressive limitation as well as trying to work out a completely new writing system at the same time. So, we cannot ask them to change their handwriting for readability. Teachers are not in a position to ask students to change their handwriting style, but they can insist on neatness and legibility. With students who are having problem with English script, special classes or group session may have to be arranged to help them. In these classes, they can be shown many examples or certain letters, and the teachers can demonstrate the stroke necessary for making the shape and where the letter starts. They can be asked to write in the air to give them confidence, or they can be asked to imitate letter or line paper which demonstrate the position and height of letters. Next is how does writing fit in ESA? First is engage. So the four writing example in this chapter approach the ESA procedures from a number of different angles. In the case of the postcard, the teacher may first talk to students about postcards and or holidays in such a way as to engage them. Then they then study the postcards looking for typical postcard features and finally they activate that knowledge by writing their own version. So in the altering detection activity, the students are hopefully engaged by the detection and topic of the sentence they write down. When they alter the sentence, they are activating the knowledge of English which they have. After discussion activated, which this will provoke, the teacher will give feedback on the language used, making correction where appropriate. Study. Number two is study. a different kind of boomerang procedure in evident in the newspaper writing activity. Students are first engaged with the topic of newspapers before doing the matching text activated. Then they study headlines before going on to a creative writing stage activated. 3 is activated. So in report writing, a number of stages are gone through giving a whole sequence of each work field. Students need to be engaged with the topic. They need to study the language which they will need, knowledge which is activated in the collection of results. Before students come back to study the structure of reports in order to produce a final piece of work. Activation. You can use a promote. They use a promote literature, promote the use of journal. Last is more writing suggestions for you. 1. Students write letters to a newspaper in response to a controversial article. This is for intermediate or advanced. Number 2 is student expand a variety of headlines into newspaper articles for intermediate or advanced. 3 is student write or design their own menus for beginner or lower intermediate. Number 4 is student design poster for a party, play or concert, etc. This is for beginner or lower intermediate. Number 5 is student write a radio news bulletin. This is for elementary or intermediate. Number 6 is student write a letter of application for a job. This is suggestion for any levels. Number 7 is students write the description of a room while listening to music. This is for intermediate. Number 8 is students send email message are real or simulated to other English speakers around the world. This is for any levels. Number 9 is student write invitation of hilarious kind. This is writing suggestion for elementary intermediate. Last, we want to say thank you for watching our presentation. This is our presentation for TEFL 2. Thank you.